Hey warriors, you opened your eyes this morning. That alone is a miracle. But somewhere between waking up and facing the mirror, you forgot. You forgot that you're worthy. You forgot that you matter. You forgot that the most important love story of your life isn't out there. It's right here with you. Self-love. Two simple words that hold the power to transform everything. Yet for most of your life, you've been taught that loving yourself is selfish, that putting yourself first is wrong, that caring for your own heart is somehow less important than caring for everyone else's. So, you gave and gave until you were empty. You prioritized others until you disappeared. You loved everyone except the one person who needed it most, you. Today, that narrative ends. Today, you remember. Today, you reclaim the most sacred relationship you'll ever have, the one with yourself. Because everything in your life flows from this single source. Your peace, your joy, your boundaries, your dreams, your relationships. All of it begins with how you treat yourself when no one else is watching. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That strength begins with how you speak to yourself. It begins with recognizing that you're worthy, not because of what you accomplish or how others see you, but simply because you exist. Self-love is waking up and choosing kindness toward yourself before you choose anything else. It's saying no without guilt. It's resting without shame. It's feeding your soul the way you'd care for someone you deeply cherish. Because you are that someone. You've always been. This isn't about perfection. It's about acceptance. It's about looking at your reflection and saying, "I see you. I hear you. I'm staying." Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Self-love is the gentle hand that catches you when you stumble. The voice that says, "Try again," instead of "give up." So today, let this message sink deep into your bones. Let it remind you that loving yourself isn't the destination. It's the journey. Every day, you get to choose it again. Every morning, you get to begin again. And the more you practice this sacred act of self-love, the more you'll realize you were never too much or not enough. You were always exactly what you needed to be. Before we go deeper, I need you to do something for me. If this message is already touching your heart, hit that like button. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. And if you're ready to transform your mornings and your life, subscribe to this channel. Don't skip a single part of this video. Stay with me. Your soul needs this. If your heart just said yes, type this now. I am worthy of my own love. Number 1. The mirror of truth. Every morning you pass by mirrors. Sometimes you glance, sometimes you stare, sometimes you look away. But how often do you really see yourself? Not the surface, not the imperfections you've been trained to focus on, but the soul behind the eyes. The heart that's been beating for you since day one. The spirit that's carried you through every storm. Self-love begins with honest seeing. It begins when you stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. It begins when you stop using other people's definitions of beauty, success, and worth to measure yourself. The world has given you 1,000 mirrors that distort your reflection, making you believe you're not enough until you look a certain way, achieve certain things, or receive certain validations. But here's the truth that will set you free. You are already whole, not broken, not incomplete, not waiting to become worthy. You are worthy now, in this moment, exactly as you are. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught, "No one can hurt you without your consent, and that includes you. You cannot hurt yourself with harsh judgments and cruel self-talk without your own consent. Today, you withdraw that consent. Stand in front of that mirror differently today. Look into your own eyes and recognize the warrior looking back. That person has survived 100% of their worst days. That person has kept going when giving up seemed easier. That person has loved, lost, stumbled, risen, tried again. That person deserves your respect, your compassion, your love. The mirror of truth isn't about ignoring areas where you want to grow. It's about seeing the whole picture. Yes, you have flaws. Everyone does. Yes, you've made mistakes. Everyone has. But you also have strengths that are uniquely yours. You have a laugh that brightens rooms. You have hands that create, comfort, and build. You have a mind full of thoughts that matter. You have a presence that impacts others in ways you'll never fully know. When you practice self-love, you practice accurate seeing. You stop magnifying your weaknesses while minimizing your strengths. You stop giving yourself the harshest criticism you'd never give a friend. You start treating yourself with the same grace you extend to others. You start believing that your needs matter, your feelings are valid, and your dreams are worth pursuing. This doesn't mean you become arrogant or self-absorbed. True self-love is humble. It recognizes that you're human, beautifully flawed, doing your best with what you have. It recognizes that you're learning, growing, evolving. It recognizes that some days you'll shine and some days you'll struggle, and both versions of you deserve love. The mirror of truth also means facing what you've been avoiding. Maybe it's acknowledging that you're tired and need rest. Maybe it's admitting that a relationship is draining you. Maybe it's recognizing that you've been living someone else's dream instead of your own. Self-love gives you the courage to face these truths without falling apart. It gives you the strength to say, "This needs to change, and I'm worth the effort it takes to change it." Start today with this practice. Look at yourself and say 3 kind truths out loud. Not generic compliments, but genuine recognitions. I showed up today even though it was hard. I was kind to that stranger. I'm learning to set boundaries. Let your own voice be the first voice of encouragement you hear each day. The world will give you plenty of criticism. It will point out your flaws, your failures, your shortcomings. But when you look in the mirror and choose to see yourself through eyes of love, you build an inner fortress that no external judgment can penetrate. You build a foundation of self-worth that doesn't crumble when life gets hard. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "Confine yourself to the present." The mirror of truth isn't about dwelling on past versions of yourself or anxiously awaiting future versions. It's about loving who you are right now, in this present moment. Because this present moment is all you truly have. And the you that exists right now is deserving of your love. So, look again. See yourself clearly. See yourself kindly. See yourself truly. And let that vision guide how you treat yourself for the rest of this day. See yourself clearly. See yourself kindly. Comment, "I see my true worth." Number 2. The garden you tend. Your mind is a garden. Every thought you plant is a seed. Every belief you water becomes a tree. Every pattern you repeat creates the landscape of your inner world. And right now, if you look around that garden honestly, what do you see? Is it blooming with flowers of kindness or overrun with weeds of self-doubt? Are you planting seeds of possibility or letting thorns of old pain take over? Self-love is the act of becoming a conscious gardener of your own mind. It's recognizing that you have more control than you think over what grows inside you. You can't control every seed that lands in your garden. Life throws plenty at you without permission. But you absolutely control which ones you water, which ones you nurture, and which ones you pull out by the roots. For too long, maybe you've been watering the wrong things. Watering the voice that says you're not good enough. feeding the belief that you're behind everyone else, nurturing the fear that you'll never change. These are weeds disguised as truth, and they've been choking out the beautiful things trying to grow in you. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Your mind will create gardens of suffering if you let it run wild without care. But when you practice self-love, you become intentional. You start asking, is this thought helping me grow or holding me back? Is this belief serving me or harming me? Does this pattern deserve my energy? Think about how you speak to yourself in moments of failure. When you make a mistake, do you say, "I'm so stupid, I always mess things up"? Or do you say, "That didn't go as planned, but I'm learning"? The difference isn't just semantics. It's the difference between planting poison and planting nourishment. Self-love means catching those harsh words before they take root and replacing them with truth that helps you grow. This doesn't mean toxic positivity. It doesn't mean pretending everything is fine when it's not. A good gardener doesn't ignore the weeds or pretend the drought isn't happening. They face reality and work with it. Self-love is honest. It says, yes, I'm struggling right now, and I'm going to be gentle with myself through it. It says, this is hard, and I'm allowed to feel this, and I'm still worthy of care. Your garden also needs pruning. There are relationships that drain you, commitments that exhaust you, habits that no longer serve you. Self-love gives you permission to cut away what's dead, so new growth can happen. This isn't selfish. This is survival. A tree that refuses to drop its dead branches will eventually collapse under their weight. You are allowed to let go of what's weighing you down. And here's what's beautiful. When you tend your inner garden with love, it affects everything around you. People feel the difference. They notice your peace. They're drawn to your authenticity. They see someone who respects themselves enough to protect their energy, and it gives them permission to do the same. Your self-love becomes an invitation for others to love themselves too. Start paying attention to your self-talk today. Notice when you're planting weeds. Stop mid-thought if you need to, and replant something kinder. When you catch yourself thinking, "I can't do this," pause and ask, is that true, or is that fear talking? When you hear, "I'm not as good as them," stop and ask, why am I comparing my journey to theirs? Feed your mind the way you'd feed a beloved garden. Give it sunlight through time in nature. Give it water through rest and stillness. Give it nutrients through books, conversations, and experiences that make you grow. Pull the weeds by questioning negative patterns. Plant new seeds by trying things that scare you, by speaking kindly to yourself, by believing in your own potential. Remember, a garden doesn't bloom overnight. You won't transform your mind in a day, but every morning you wake up and choose to tend it with love, you're creating change. Every time you replace a harsh thought with a gentle one, you're planting new possibility. Every time you say no to what drains you and yes to what fills you, you're making space for beauty to grow. Your mind is the only garden you'll tend for your entire life. Make it a place you want to live. What will you nurture today? Affirm it. I choose what I nurture. Number 3, the permission you've been waiting for. You've been waiting for permission. Permission to rest when you're tired. Permission to say no without a long explanation. Permission to choose yourself without feeling guilty. Permission to want more, to dream bigger, to take up space. You've been standing at the door of your own life, waiting for someone to tell you it's okay to walk through. Here's what you need to hear. You don't need anyone's permission to love yourself. You don't need to earn it. You don't need to wait until you're thinner, richer, more successful, or more together. You don't need your parents' approval, your partner's validation, or society's stamp of worthiness. The permission you've been waiting for can only come from one person, you. Self-love is radical permission. It's giving yourself the green light to exist as you are, to need what you need, to feel what you feel. It's releasing yourself from the prison of other people's expectations. It's understanding that you're allowed to change your mind, change your path, change your life, even if it disappoints someone else. Think about how much energy you've spent seeking approval, adjusting your personality to fit in, dimming your light so others feel comfortable, apologizing for having boundaries, sacrificing your peace to keep the peace, putting yourself last on an endless list of everyone else's needs. This isn't noble. This isn't love. This is self-abandonment dressed up as virtue. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. We give strangers more authority over our worth than we give ourselves. We let one critical comment outweigh 100 compliments. We change who we are based on who's watching, and in the process, we lose ourselves completely." Self-love says, "I give myself permission to disappoint people, not because I want to hurt anyone, but because I cannot twist myself into shapes that betray my truth just to make others comfortable. I give myself permission to be imperfect, to be a work in progress, to not have it all figured out. I give myself permission to rest without productivity, to eat without guilt, to take up space without apologizing." This permission extends to your emotions too. You're allowed to be sad without needing to explain why. You're allowed to be angry without being told you're overreacting. You're allowed to be joyful without waiting for the other shoe to drop. Your feelings are valid simply because you're feeling them. They don't need to make sense to anyone else. They don't need to be justified or rationalized. They're yours, and they're real, and that's enough. You're also allowed to change. The person you were 5 years ago doesn't have to be the person you are today. You can outgrow relationships, careers, cities, and versions of yourself. You can decide that something you once wanted no longer serves you. Growth isn't betrayal. Evolution isn't failure. Self-love means giving yourself permission to become who you're meant to be, even if it means leaving behind who you used to be. And here's the permission that might be hardest to accept. You're allowed to put yourself first sometimes, not in a selfish, harmful way, but in a necessary, life-giving way. You're allowed to say, "I can't help with that right now because I need to take care of myself." You're allowed to skip the event because you're exhausted. You're allowed to end the conversation because it's draining your energy. You're allowed to choose your peace over people-pleasing. This doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a healthy person. It makes you someone who understands that you can't serve from an empty vessel. It makes you someone who respects themselves enough to protect their energy. And ironically, when you give yourself this permission, you become more available for the people and things that truly matter. Not out of obligation, but out of genuine love and overflow. Stop waiting for the world to tell you it's okay to love yourself. The world is busy, distracted, and dealing with its own pain. Your permission slip isn't coming from out there. It's already inside you, waiting to be signed. Today, sign it. Give yourself full, unconditional permission to honor your needs, respect your limits, and love yourself fiercely. You are allowed to be your own priority. Starting now, you don't need anyone's approval. Declare it. I release all guilt. Number 4. The voice that shapes your world. There's a voice that follows you everywhere. It's the first voice you hear in the morning and the last one before sleep. It comments on everything you do, every choice you make, every reflection you see. It's been with you longer than any friend, any relationship, any job. It's the voice inside your head, your inner voice. And the question you need to ask yourself today is, would you let anyone else speak to you the way you speak to yourself? Most of us wouldn't tolerate a friend who constantly criticized us, pointed out every flaw, reminded us of every failure, and told us we'd never be enough. We'd walk away from that relationship without hesitation. Yet we allow that exact voice to live rent-free in our minds, running commentary on our lives 24 hours a day. We let it tear us down, drain our confidence, and steal our peace. And we call it being realistic or staying humble. Self-love is taking back control of that voice. It's recognizing that the narrator of your life story doesn't have to be cruel. It can be kind. It can be encouraging. It can be honest without being brutal. It can push you to grow without crushing your spirit. The voice in your head is yours to shape, and shaping it is one of the most powerful acts of self-love you'll ever practice. Epictetus taught that we're disturbed not by events themselves, but by our views of them. Your inner voice creates those views. Two people can experience the same setback, but one tells themselves, "I'm a failure, I'll never succeed," while the other says, "This didn't work, but I learned something valuable." Same event, different voices, completely different outcomes. Your inner voice doesn't just describe your reality, it creates it. Think about a recent mistake you made. Now replay the conversation you had with yourself afterward. Were you compassionate, saying, "It's okay, everyone makes mistakes. What can I learn from this?" Or were you harsh, saying, "How could you be so stupid? You always mess things up"? That voice isn't telling you truth. It's telling you a story, and you get to decide if that story empowers you or destroys you. Changing your inner voice takes practice. It's like retraining a muscle that's been tense for years. You have to catch the negative thoughts as they arise. You have to pause and ask, is this helping me or hurting me? Is this true or just fear speaking? Would I say this to someone I love? And then you have to consciously choose a different response. When you look in the mirror and hear, "You look terrible," stop and reframe. "I'm tired today, and that's okay. My worth isn't determined by how I look." When you make a mistake and hear, "You're such an idiot," interrupt with, "I'm human. I'm learning. This doesn't define me." When you face a challenge and hear, "You can't do this," replace it with, "This is hard, but I've done hard things before." This isn't about lying to yourself or pretending problems don't exist. It's about speaking to yourself with the same respect, patience, and encouragement you'd offer someone you care about. It's about becoming your own best friend instead of your own worst enemy. Your inner voice also affects how you receive love from others. If you constantly tell yourself you're unworthy, you'll sabotage relationships because you won't believe anyone could genuinely love you. You'll dismiss compliments, push away affection, and create distance to protect yourself from the inevitable rejection you believe is coming. But when your inner voice is kind, when it reminds you of your worth, you can receive love without suspicion. You can accept kindness without waiting for the catch. Start monitoring your self-talk like it's the most important conversation you'll ever have. Because it is. Write down the cruel things you say to yourself. Look at them on paper. Would you say these things to a child, to your best friend, to anyone you love? If the answer is no, then why are you saying them to yourself? Begin replacing each harsh statement with a truthful, kind alternative. Not fake positivity, but genuine compassion. "I'm behind everyone else" becomes, "I'm on my own timeline, and that's perfectly okay." "Nobody likes me" becomes, "I'm still finding my people, and that takes time." "I'm not good enough" becomes, "I'm doing my best with what I have right now." Your inner voice is powerful beyond measure. It can lift you up or tear you down. It can open doors or close them. It can create possibility or limitation. Today, choose to make it a voice of love. Choose to make it a voice that believes in you, supports you, and reminds you of your strength when you forget. The conversation you have with yourself sets the tone for every other conversation in your life. Make it one worth having. Change the voice. Change your life. Comment. My words create my world. Number 5. The boundaries that set you free. There's a word that might be hard for you to say. 2 letters, 1 syllable, a complete sentence. No. You've spent so much time saying yes. Yes to demands on your time. Yes to requests that drain you. Yes to people who take without giving. Yes to situations that hurt you. You've said yes when your whole body was screaming no. You've said yes out of guilt, obligation, fear of disappointing others, fear of being seen as selfish, fear of being left alone. Self-love is learning to say no without apology. It's understanding that boundaries aren't walls you build to keep people out. They're guidelines you create to keep yourself whole. They're the invisible lines that protect your energy, your peace, your time, and your heart. And without them, you become a doormat for everyone else's needs, while your own go completely ignored. Think about your life right now. How many commitments are you keeping out of obligation rather than genuine desire? How many relationships are you maintaining that leave you feeling empty? How many conversations are you enduring that disrespect your values? How many times do you say, "I'm fine," when you're falling apart because you don't want to burden anyone? These are all signs that your boundaries are either too weak or non-existent. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." He understood that while you can't control what others do, you absolutely control how much access they have to you. You control whether you engage or disengage. You control whether you allow someone's chaos to become your chaos. You control the gate to your inner peace, and self-love means guarding that gate with wisdom. Healthy boundaries look like this: saying no to plans when you need rest, even if someone is disappointed. Ending phone calls that have turned toxic. Refusing to justify your decisions to people who aren't living your life. Not responding to every text immediately just because someone expects it. Taking time for yourself without explaining why. Leaving situations that make you feel small. These aren't acts of rudeness, they're acts of self-respect. But here's what stops most people from setting boundaries. Guilt. You feel guilty for prioritizing yourself. You feel guilty for disappointing others. You feel guilty for not being everything to everyone all the time. That guilt has been planted in you by a culture that celebrates self-sacrifice and martyrdom. That guilt is a lie. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give what you don't have. Setting boundaries will upset some people. That's not your problem to fix. People who are used to you having no boundaries will call you selfish when you start creating them. People who benefited from your people-pleasing will resist your growth. People who took advantage of your kindness will try to guilt you back into old patterns. Let them be upset. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. Your well-being is. Boundaries also mean knowing when to walk away. Not every relationship is meant to last forever. Not every job deserves your loyalty. Not every argument is worth having. Self-love is recognizing when something is consistently harmful and having the courage to release it. Staying in situations that deplete you isn't loyalty. It's self-betrayal. You're allowed to outgrow people, places, and versions of yourself. Start small if boundaries feel scary. Practice saying, "Let me think about it," instead of immediately saying yes. Practice saying, "That doesn't work for me," without offering a long explanation. Practice putting your phone on silent when you need peace. Practice leaving events early if you're exhausted. Each small boundary you set builds your confidence to set bigger ones. Remember, boundaries aren't about controlling others. They're about respecting yourself. You're not telling people what to do. You're informing them what you will and won't accept. You're not punishing anyone. You're protecting your peace. You're not being mean. you're being clear. And clarity, even when it's uncomfortable, is an act of love for yourself and for others. The people who truly love you will respect your boundaries. They might need time to adjust, but they'll honor them. The people who get angry at your boundaries were benefiting from you having none. Let that be information. Let that guide your decisions. Surround yourself with people who celebrate your growth, not people who resent your healing. Your time, energy, and peace are precious. They're limited resources. Self-love means treating them that way. It means being selective about where you invest them. It means understanding that every yes to something that drains you is a no to something that could fulfill you. Set the boundaries. Guard them fiercely. Watch your life transform. Protect your peace. Drop this truth. No is a complete sentence. Number 6. The seasons of your becoming. Nature doesn't apologize for its seasons. Winter doesn't feel guilty for being cold and quiet. Spring doesn't rush its blossoms. Summer doesn't apologize for its heat. Autumn doesn't feel shame as its leaves fall. Each season knows its purpose, honors its rhythm, and trusts the cycle. Yet somehow you've forgotten that you're part of nature too. You've forgotten that you're allowed to have seasons. Self-love is honoring the season you're in right now. Maybe you're in winter, a time of rest, withdrawal, inner work. Everything feels dormant. You're not producing, not achieving, not shining the way you think you should. And society tells you that's wrong, that you should always be in summer, always blooming, always bright. But winter is necessary. Winter is when roots grow deeper. Winter is when healing happens beneath the surface where nobody can see. Or maybe you're in spring, emerging from darkness, trying new things, feeling hope again, but also vulnerability. You're not fully bloomed yet. You're tender, fragile, still figuring things out. And you're comparing yourself to people in their full summer, wondering why you're not there yet. But spring doesn't skip steps. Neither should you. Every season has its own timeline, its own wisdom, its own beauty. Perhaps you're in autumn, letting things go, releasing what no longer serves you, making space for what's next. Endings are happening, relationships, jobs, versions of yourself are falling away like leaves. And it hurts. It feels like loss. But autumn isn't failure. Autumn is preparation. You're not dying. You're making room for new growth. You're not losing yourself. You're finding yourself by releasing what was never truly yours. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything is only for a day, both that which remembers and that which is remembered. Nothing stays the same. You will not always feel this way. This season, whether beautiful or brutal, is temporary. Self-love is trusting the cycle, even when you can't see what's coming next. Your problem isn't the season you're in. Your problem is fighting it. You're in winter but demanding summer productivity from yourself. You're in spring but angry that you're not in full bloom. You're in autumn but resisting the necessary endings. You're exhausting yourself trying to be in a season you're not in, instead of honoring where you actually are. Self-love asks, what does this season need from me? If you're in winter, it needs rest. It needs stillness. It needs you to stop forcing growth and start allowing recovery. Stop calling it laziness. Stop feeling guilty for slowing down. Your body and soul are doing important work in the quiet. Honor it. If you're in spring, it needs patience. It needs you to celebrate small beginnings instead of demanding instant results. Stop comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20. Stop rushing the process. New things are fragile. Give them time and gentleness to grow strong. If you're in summer, it needs you to shine without apology. It needs you to stop dimming your light because someone else feels threatened by it. Stop playing small. This is your time to bloom fully, to share your gifts, to live out loud. Don't waste your summer hiding. If you're in autumn, it needs your courage to let go. It needs you to trust that releasing what's dead isn't giving up. It's making space. Stop clinging to relationships, jobs, or identities that have run their course. Stop being afraid of the empty spaces. They won't stay empty. They're just transitioning. And here's the truth that will change everything. You'll cycle through all these seasons multiple times in your life, sometimes in years, sometimes in months, sometimes even in weeks. You might be in summer in your career, but winter in your relationships. You might be in spring emotionally, but autumn spiritually. You're complex, you're layered. You're allowed to be in multiple seasons at once. Stop judging yourself by someone else's season. Their summer doesn't mean your winter is wrong. Their autumn doesn't mean your spring is too slow. Every person is on their own cycle, and comparison destroys the beauty of where you are. The tree doesn't envy the flower. The ocean doesn't resent the mountain. Nature celebrates diversity of timing. So should you. Ask yourself today, what season am I in? Not where society says I should be, not where I wish I was. Where am I actually? And what does this season need from me? Rest, patience, boldness, release. Give yourself what this moment requires. Trust that this season has purpose. Trust that another season is coming. Trust that you're exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not doing it wrong. You're in your season. Honor it. Trust it. Let it teach you. And when it's time, you'll naturally move into the next one. That's not just growth. That's self-love in its most natural, beautiful form. Trust your timing. Affirm below, I trust my season. Number 7. The wounds that made you wiser. You carry scars that nobody sees, wounds from words that cut deeper than any blade, bruises from betrayals that still ache when certain memories surface, pain from moments when you were too much for some people and not enough for others. You've been hurt in ways that changed you, shaped you, marked you, and somewhere along the way, you started believing that these wounds made you damaged, broken, less than, unworthy of love. Self-love is rewriting that story. It's looking at your scars and seeing survival instead of shame. It's recognizing that you're not broken. You're broken open. Those cracks you're trying to hide. They're where the light gets in. They're where wisdom entered. They're proof that you've lived, you've felt, you've endured, and you're still here, still standing, still trying, still worthy. Your wounds don't make you weak. They make you human. They make you deep. They make you capable of compassion that shallow people will never understand. You know what pain feels like, so you recognize it in others. You know what it means to fall apart, so you can sit with someone else's breaking without fear. You know darkness, so you truly appreciate light. Your wounds gave you depth, empathy, and strength you wouldn't have otherwise. But here's where self-love gets challenging. You have to stop using your wounds as weapons against yourself. Stop letting past pain justify present self-destruction. Stop saying, I was hurt, so I don't deserve good things. Stop using your trauma as permission to mistreat yourself. Yes, terrible things happened. Yes, people failed you. Yes, you experienced pain that wasn't your fault. But continuing to punish yourself for what others did to you isn't justice. It's just more pain. Seneca wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." Your wounds happened in the past, but you keep reopening them with your thoughts. You replay the betrayals. You rehearse the rejections. You relive the moments you wish you could change. And each time you do, you wound yourself again. Self-love is choosing to let the past stay in the past. Not because it didn't matter, but because you matter more. This doesn't mean pretending the pain didn't happen. It doesn't mean forgiving people who hurt you if you're not ready. It doesn't mean toxic positivity or spiritual bypassing. It means acknowledging what happened and then making a conscious choice. Will I let this define me, or will I let it refine me? Will I stay stuck in victim mode, or will I step into survivor mode? You've been telling yourself a story about your wounds. Maybe it's, I'm unlovable because my parents didn't show me love. Or, I'll never trust again because I was betrayed. Or, I'm not enough because someone chose someone else. These stories feel true because they're backed by real pain. But feelings aren't facts. Just because someone failed to love you properly doesn't mean you're unlovable. Just because you were betrayed doesn't mean everyone will betray you. Just because you weren't someone's choice doesn't mean you're not worthy of being chosen. Self-love is separating what happened to you from who you are. You are not your trauma. You are not your worst moment. You are not the sum of people's failures to see your worth. You are a soul who experienced hardship and kept going anyway. That's not damage. That's courage. Start treating your wounds with the tenderness they deserve. Stop poking at them to see if they still hurt. Stop showing them to people who have no capacity to hold them with care. Stop expecting yourself to be over them on some arbitrary timeline. Healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel strong. Some days old wounds will ache like they're fresh. Both days are part of the journey. Both versions of you deserve compassion. Your wounds also taught you what you won't tolerate anymore. They showed you what you need and what you don't. They revealed who's safe and who's not. They gave you boundaries written in scar tissue. Honor that wisdom. Don't let anyone convince you to lower your standards just because they're uncomfortable with the boundaries your pain taught you to set. And here's the most powerful truth. Your wounds can become your medicine. The things that broke you can become the things that make you a healer for others. Your story of survival can give someone else hope. Your scars can show someone else that healing is possible. Your willingness to keep loving yourself after being hurt can inspire someone to do the same. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by how you chose to rise after it happened. And choosing to love yourself despite the wounds, despite the scars, despite the pain. That's not just healing, that's heroic. You survived. You're stronger. Comment, I turned pain into power. Number 8. The person you're still becoming. You're not finished yet. You're not a completed project. You're not supposed to have it all figured out by now. You're a person in progress, a story still being written, a masterpiece still being painted. And somewhere along the way, you started treating yourself like a final product instead of an ongoing process. You started judging yourself harshly for not being perfect, for not being further along, for not being the person you thought you'd be by this age. Self-love is giving yourself permission to still be becoming. It's understanding that growth doesn't have a deadline. It's accepting that you'll make mistakes tomorrow, learn new things next week, and discover parts of yourself next year that you didn't even know existed. You're allowed to be unfinished. You're allowed to be figuring it out as you go. You're allowed to evolve, change directions, start over, and surprise yourself with who you're capable of becoming. Think about who you were 5 years ago. Different, right? Maybe you believed things you no longer believe. Maybe you tolerated things you'd never tolerate now. Maybe you were quieter, louder, harder, softer. You've changed because you've lived. You've grown because you've experienced. And 5 years from now, you'll be different again. That's not failure. That's life. That's the whole point. Yet you beat yourself up for not being consistent, for changing your mind, for wanting different things than you wanted before. You apologize for evolving as if growth is something to be ashamed of. But Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Every experience you have is an opportunity to become wiser, stronger, more yourself. Every challenge is reshaping you. Every lesson is refining you. You're not the same person who started reading this, and that's beautiful. Self-love means celebrating the person you're becoming instead of mourning who you used to be. It means getting excited about your potential instead of being frustrated by your current limitations. Yes, you have work to do. Yes, you have patterns to break. Yes, you have healing ahead of you. But that doesn't make you broken. It makes you alive. Dead things don't grow. Stagnant things don't change. The fact that you're still becoming means you're still breathing, still trying, still here. Stop comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. You see their finished product and compare it to your rough draft. You see their chapter 20 and compare it to your chapter 5. You see their years of practice and compare it to your first attempt. That's not fair to you. That's not realistic. That's not how growth works. Every expert was once a beginner. Every success story had countless failures. Every person you admire had moments of doubt, confusion, and feeling completely lost. The difference isn't that they're better than you. The difference is they kept going. They kept becoming. They gave themselves permission to be imperfect while working toward improvement. You're allowed to be a beginner at 40. You're allowed to try new things at 60. You're allowed to change careers, change cities, change your entire life at any age. You're allowed to discover passions you didn't know you had. You're allowed to admit you were wrong about something and choose differently now. You're allowed to surprise yourself and everyone who thought they had you figured out. Self-love is protecting your becoming. It's saying no to people who want to keep you in the box of who you used to be. It's setting boundaries with those who feel threatened by your growth. It's walking away from relationships that only valued the old version of you. It's choosing environments that encourage your evolution instead of punishing it. Your becoming is sacred. It's ongoing. It's never too late and never complete. Today, you're becoming someone who loves themselves more. Tomorrow, you'll become someone who knows themselves deeper. Next year, you'll become someone you can't even imagine yet. And that's the adventure of being alive. That's the gift of being human. You get to keep becoming for as long as you're breathing. Stop waiting to love yourself until you're better. Stop postponing kindness toward yourself until you've achieved more. Stop treating yourself harshly because you're not where you thought you'd be. Love yourself now, in this unfinished state. Love yourself while you're learning. Love yourself while you're growing. Love yourself in the messy middle of becoming. Because here's the truth. There is no final version of you. There's only this moment's version, and it deserves your love. You deserve your love. Not someday when you're perfect. Not later when you've figured it all out. Now, today, exactly as you are, even while you're becoming something more. The caterpillar doesn't hate itself for not being a butterfly yet. It trusts the process. It honors the stage it's in. It becomes what it's meant to become in the right time. You're in your cocoon right now, transforming in ways you can't see yet. Stop judging the process. Trust it. Love yourself through it. And watch who you become when you finally give yourself that grace. You're not finished. You're becoming. Right. I'm evolving, not failing. Number 9. The love that starts with you. Everything changes when you realize that the love you've been seeking has been inside you all along. You've been searching for it in other people's words, in achievements, in validation, in likes and comments and external proof that you matter. You've been knocking on every door except the one that leads to your own heart. You've been asking everyone else to fill a space that only you can fill. Self-love isn't selfish. It's the foundation. It's the starting point for every other kind of love in your life. You cannot truly love others if you don't love yourself, because you'll constantly need them to prove your worth. You'll cling instead of connect. You'll demand instead of share. You'll drain instead of nourish. Love that comes from an empty well isn't love. It's desperation disguised as devotion. When you love yourself, you stop looking for someone to complete you because you realize you're already whole. You stop needing constant reassurance because you've learned to reassure yourself. You stop seeking validation because you've learned to validate your own experience. You become full, and from that fullness, you can genuinely give to others without expecting them to fill your voids. Think about how you treat people you love. You're patient with them. You forgive their mistakes. You celebrate their wins. You comfort them in pain. You believe in them when they doubt themselves. You see their potential even when they can't. Now ask yourself, when was the last time you treated yourself that way? When was the last time you were your own best friend instead of your harshest critic? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What we do now echoes in eternity." Every moment you choose self-love over self-criticism, you're creating a new echo. You're rewriting the story. You're building a different relationship with yourself, one that will affect every other relationship you have. When you love yourself, you teach others how to love you. When you respect yourself, you show others where your boundaries are. When you honor yourself, you attract people who will honor you too. Self-love means showing up for yourself the way you've shown up for everyone else. It means keeping the promises you make to yourself. It means not canceling on your own needs every time someone else needs something. It means treating your goals with the same seriousness you treat other people's emergencies. It means being as loyal to yourself as you've been to people who didn't deserve it. It means feeding yourself nourishing food, not because you need to look a certain way, but because your body deserves fuel that makes it feel good. It means moving your body in ways that feel joyful, not punishing. It means resting when you're tired without guilt. It means saying kind words to your reflection. It means celebrating your small victories. It means forgiving yourself for yesterday and trusting yourself with tomorrow. Self-love is also knowing when to ask for help. It's recognizing that you don't have to carry everything alone. It's understanding that reaching out isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's being brave enough to say, "I'm not okay," and trusting that you're still worthy of support. It's letting people in while maintaining boundaries. It's accepting love from others while not depending on it to define you. The most powerful thing you'll ever do is choose yourself. Not in a selfish way that harms others, but in a self-preserving way that honors your worth. Choose yourself when everyone expects you to choose them. Choose yourself when it's uncomfortable. Choose yourself when it's scary. Choose yourself when you're unsure if you deserve it. Because you do. You always have. You always will. Self-love transforms everything. It changes how you walk into rooms. It changes what you tolerate and what you refuse. It changes the types of people you attract. It changes your goals, your standards, your entire trajectory. When you love yourself, you stop living small to make others comfortable. You stop apologizing for existing. You stop dimming your light. You take up your space, speak your truth, and live your life on your terms. And the beautiful paradox is this: the more you love yourself, the more love you have to give. Not less, more. Because love isn't a finite resource that runs out when you use it on yourself. It's infinite. It multiplies. It overflows. When your cup is full, you naturally pour into others without resentment, without depletion, without keeping score. Today, make the choice. Choose to be the love you've been waiting for. Choose to be the voice of encouragement you've needed. Choose to be the safe space you've been seeking. Choose to be your own hero, your own comfort, your own home. Because you are worth every ounce of love you've been giving away. You are worth the effort, the patience, the grace, the devotion. The love that changes your life doesn't start out there. It starts right here with you, choosing yourself over and over again until it becomes your nature. The search ends here. Declare it. I am my own home. You made it. You stayed through every word, every truth, every mirror held up to your soul. That alone is an act of self-love. You chose to be here. You chose to listen. You chose to consider that maybe, just maybe, you deserve the love you've been giving everyone else. Self-love isn't a destination you reach. It's a daily practice. Some days it'll feel easy, natural, like breathing. Other days it'll feel impossible, like swimming against the current. On those hard days, come back to this message. Let these words remind you of who you are and what you deserve. You are worthy, not because of what you do, not because of what you achieve, not because of how others see you. You're worthy because you exist, because you're here, breathing, trying, growing. That's enough. You're enough. Start today. Start now. Look at yourself with softer eyes. Speak to yourself with kinder words. Make choices that honor your peace. Set boundaries that protect your energy. Forgive yourself for being human. Celebrate yourself for surviving. Love yourself through the becoming. The world needs you whole, not broken. It needs you rested, not burned out. It needs you loving yourself so you can love others from a place of overflow instead of depletion. Your self-love isn't selfish. It's necessary. It's revolutionary. It's the most important relationship you'll ever build. So before you go, do one more thing for me. Hit that like button if this message touched your soul. Drop a comment with your favorite point or the affirmation that hit home. Share this video with someone who needs this reminder today. And subscribe to this channel for more daily motivation that will keep you growing, healing, and loving yourself more each day. You are loved. You are worthy. You are enough. Now go out there and live like you believe it. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose self-love every single day.